Good, okay. All right, well, welcome back in meeting 7 with our instructional. And just the disclaimer that we do broadcast by Zoom, so our members can tune in and watch and all that good stuff, but we don't record or broadcast caucus or sidebar. And today we're back to HCTA. We have our response to the instructional compensation, and then there are just, I listed a few of the outstanding contract pieces. So we can go in any order. I printed fresh packets this time of kind of the language pieces, but we also have our counter. So I know it's kind of.
I will let you drive the ship.
Right. We'll go with this first. So these are packets, and just take one. They're all sorted for you already, thanks to the.
Is this full packet of what you had passed out originally? Or new?
It's just some of it's reprinted, so it's everything that is like listed here on the agenda.
Got it.
Yeah.
So old stuff we've already TA'd is not in.
No, TAs are not in there. This is just the outstanding things that we have left to deal with. Need more today? Yeah, one more down here. If you let us know how many copies you need, we can get you some more copies. How many extras do you think you need? You need an extra one?
Oh, you did.
Yep. All right, well, just let us know. We can make more copies if you need.
Two
If you got it.
Three, I'm sorry, three copies.
Yeah, just the 3. Now we're up to 3.
Do I hear 4?
Yeah, just me. All right. 3. All right, we're gonna get there.
Definitely need 2.
Okay, we definitely need 2. 3 would be great. We can always make more too, I think, if we need them. It just might take a minute. I know, everyone wants to follow along. All right. So some of these, I think, they were on hold for you all and for us, and we'll just kind of mark as we go. So the cover page is there. Again, we're just going to be just updating the revised date to 2025, not changing the terms of the contract.
Did we TA it?
We did not.
Do we need to?
Yeah. If you're willing.
I'm willing to TA that. Absolutely.
We're just TAing the cover because we have a revised date of 2025. All right, and then we'll make copies for you. The next page is page 11. This was 2.9.4, 5, and 6, and then the second page 2.12, 5, and 6 were new. We're all related to school psychologists. I had these as a hold. So I just printed fresh copies. I know that we talked about on page 14, the job share. We had a pretty in-depth discussion about how job share applies to school psychologists, but I know that the district all wanted to hold on the TPA piece. So that's just there as a placeholder if and when you're ready. Got your pencil.
All right, so a couple things. So 2.9.4, we do not want to place this in the contract this year. We do have a process where when funds are available, the site supervisor has been, our understanding is giving T-pay for Saturday work, for lack of a better way of saying it. So, but we want to continue to explore this. We want to get some data for that, which would be how many parentally placed private school students did we have this past year? We want to look at what that process has been, if it's being done, so that we're not burning out all the same people, those kinds of things. So it's not that we don't want to compensate people for that work. We need more information, and we feel that last year was really the first year of doing that piece. So we'd like to collect data. Our understanding from meeting with some of your team, as well as some of our school psychologists, was that there really wasn't a current tracking system for that.
Okay.
For like gathering, like we can't just say, we know that there was this many parentally placed private school students evaluated. And if we do have that, then we need that data so that we can make a more informed decision.
Right,
Okay. So that's where that part comes from.
okay,
Okay. 2.9.5, we're not in favor of this, but we'd like to do a counter proposal.
okay,
In speaking with student services, we would like to present that we add to the salary schedule,
okay,
okay, a student services team leader, which would match our elementary team leaders of $848.71. Currently, this would be for psych and social work, because they do have team leaders. And this would give us an opportunity for them to receive a supplement for that extra work that they are doing. And it would be just like any other team leader. It would be assigned by the supervisor each year. It'd be a group 2 supplement, so it's annually. And the psych department could use some of those allocations for crisis team members. So that needs to be kind of thought through, like how many they would need to do and what the allocation would be. But the student services team leader supplement will give us the avenue for them to then be able to request units for that. That makes sense.
okay. All right, so that's your counter for 2.9.5.
Correct.
And that would go to group 2 supplement, okay.
Correct. And the same thing, we're not in agreement for 2.9.6.
Mhm.
Again, we need more data around the T-pays, and we do not have that at this time.
Okay.
All right, so, and then the next page you had said job share, correct?
Yeah, I know we had a conversation about it,
Mhm.
and I couldn't quite, I wrote down no and hold, so then I was
Yeah.
confused on.
Yeah,
what
we
we're
want
gonna
to
do here for
continue with our
2.12.
current process. And if there are any situations where, for example, a school psychologist is in a job share with somebody, and that somebody resigns,
Mhm.
then we would want to look at those case by case, whether we can still continue those job shares. And we have been doing that in our critical shortage areas, instead of making the other person take the whole assignment.
Right, right.
So,
It seems like it'd be better just to have at least half person than no person if they can't stay and do the whole thing, so.
and we've been looking at those when they come up, because there's some things we have to do behind the scenes with the unit and all those
Mhm.
things in order to make that happen. So, but we have a process in place for that currently, and we'd like to continue with that process.
All right. So in our packet, we're now on page 20. This was a new proposal for 3.9.3. So our original proposal was just the first sentence, library media specialists shall not be required to teach classes on the special services schedule. I know we had a conversation about this at the table. You were interested in the data, which we shared. And then I know we talked about this, I think just last week, with in labor management, just kind of the concerns where we do know some work sites, specifically our transformation network schools, are utilizing this as a way to improve planning time, and folks are on board with it. So we added some language here to try to capture that, to see if this is something we can do. Now, we feel in our original proposal where they would not be required to teach classes on the special schedule, that allowed for that because it wouldn't be a requirement. But we added some clarifying language here to see. So what our addition here after that first sentence would be, however, in schools where this practice is considered, it may be implemented only if all impacted library media specialists at the site voluntarily agree in writing. Such agreement must be renewed annually prior to the start of the school year, may not be coerced, and shall be submitted to the media specialist, the principal, and the Office of Employee Relations. If any impacted library media specialist withdraws consent during the school year, the assignment shall end at the start of the next semester. And no library media specialist at the site shall be required to teach classes on the special service schedule thereafter unless following the above procedure. So we wanted to try to have a way for it to happen, and then it's just clear and everybody's on the same page. Because I think we understand if there are cases where the team and everybody's great, excited about it, then that's good. But we just wanted to kind of not have it be well, this is what you're doing, because those are the cases we hear about, right? Where folks are kind of like, we don't really know, and so we were trying to open that as an option, but it wouldn't be a required unless everybody's good with it.
Okay.
So that was our kind of counter there or solution to try to address that, and we're open to working on this language
Understood.
for everybody to kind of be on the same page.
Okay, we'll review.
Okay.
I'd just like to add that, with that, we think that a lot of this began with the transformation network, meaning trying to get teachers extra planning time. And we're all for that. And then what's happened is we know that schools that kind of enter or leave the transformation network, that this may be a remnant of a previous transformation school. So they're continuing with that schedule. And again, we're open to like having a deeper conversation around it on how to make it right. I don't know, figure it out. But that was our attempt to kind of create language around that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's perfect the way it is, but hopefully you see where we're going to try to allow that just everybody's on the same page. So no one's, hey, this was done, and then they're calling us and we're saying, hey, well, everybody should have talked about it, all that good stuff. So yes. All right. Now on to page 25. We sent over, so this is about the notice of intent to remove form that we sent you a draft, we worked on it. It went to the forms committee, I found out, and we do have a form now that has an SB number. And so this would be the form that we would propose including.
Who served on the forms committee from your team?
I don't know. I think Pam might have been there.
She saw her. She disappeared.
She was up here.
Okay, all right.
So yeah,
Okay.
we can find out.
Yeah,
but,
all right. No, I was just curious. All right, if, you can just hold on that.
Okay.
I can review that.
Yeah. I will. Pam comes back last.
Okay.
She told me about it. All right, so then 57 and 60, this is, so what I did here for 14.3.1, I know we had language and then you had language, so they're both kind of there. It's just, so everyone can see what's going on. So we had proposed the above language with the bullet points, and you all proposed the bottom sentence. And we had discussion about this, and I just want to reiterate that where we're at is we're willing to withdraw our proposal and accept yours, because we had the discussion about 17.3.7 kind of in conjunction on the next page. As long as we put in the effective 2025, we would strike the maximum of 15 years for experience credit for rehire retirees. Okay. So we're still there. I mean, we talked about last time that we couldn't condition it on the grievance just because that's an individual case, and
Understood.
All of that. But as a contractual piece, we're ready to withdraw ours, accept your language with that in conjunction with 17.3.7.
We are too.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mark this withdraw. And then we will TA. That's. All right. All right, now on to 18.1.2. This is for the extended year and extended learning program. We had proposed having this kind of on a scale of EOO to E15. We know you countered with $30 an hour. Our counter right now is equivalent to step EOO on the salary schedule P or higher. We know right now that amount is $30.30. I think it's $30.3038 or something like that. But we do know we're still in negotiations over that salary scale, so that's there. And we did want to compensate those student service employees that are hired at the step 0 on their scale, which their student service is 10 for the 198. That would be step 0. I think right now that's 32 and some change. So, that's kind of there, and I know we're still working on the scales, and so we can hold on that, but that's kind of where we're at on that counter for right now.
Got it.
The rationale being, if we tie it to those beginning steps, then it's just, we don't have to keep coming back and then it falls behind. At least it's at the starting hourly rate. That's kind of our goal there with this,
Okay.
so that we don't have to keep to
All right.
wait many years and then have to do a $2 increase. If we just kind of keep it incrementally going, it will, I think, be easier, but
All right.
there. All right, page 64, this is 20.1.3. So, we know that the board said no to the bilingual interpretation translation services, and we're in a place where we're working on the ESE contact team leader. Now, with your proposal for the, student services team leader, is this where you would list that as well?
Correct.
Okay, and that's what you would be calling it, student services team leader?
Correct.
Just gonna make a note there. All right, so this is just there as a fresh copy and a placeholder, because I know we're still working on.
Okay.
Which is as we continue to go on. I have 22.4.7, 8, and 7 and 8 here, just again, as it's here. We don't have anything to propose here yet because we're addressing this in the compensation proposal. This is the Renaissance pay
Okay.
section. I know that there's a proposal to strike it and we've got it, so.
Yeah.
Just kind of there as a reminder for us to keep looking at this, so
Okay.
I just have some notes there for you. All right. Drug and alcohol-free workplace. All right, so I went through what we talked about last time. I know you kind of told us this is what we agreed to, so I think I've got it here, so I just want to check with you. So whenever we figure out the numbering, this would be a new, I think it would go before the grievance. This would be a new 24, and then we would adjust all the other articles. So the policy and the testing is there. I believe you said yes to 0.1.1, 0.2.1, and 2.2. No to 2.3. Yes to 2.4. And of course, all the numbering would be adjusted. So I went through and just did, like, I struck out in 2.2, just to be clear, I did strike a minimum of 1 hour.
Yeah.
So it would just be administrators shall have training annually.
Yeah.
And then removing, and then the 0.2.3, 0.2.4 is good, and 0.2.5 would be removed. Then on to 0.2.6 on the next page. 0.2.7, the counter there was employees shall be provided a copy of testing results after the close of the investigation. That would be taking out no later than 5 days. And then 0.2.8, all information, interviews, reports, statement, memoranda, and records, referrals. This would be about the testing lab, but taking out the audio recording and video recordings.
Mhm.
Accepting 2.9, 2.10, 2.11, and then under 2.11, only keeping there.
I had 2.10 is,
Did
Xed
you?
out. Yeah, we didn't agree to
Oh,
that.
sorry, yeah. Okay, 2. And then in 2.11, keeping that first section, but striking A, B, and C, and then there would be like a new A when a recording is removed or downloaded from the investigator's vehicle. And then on the next page, page 75, originally for 2.12 and then the new 0.3, you all had said no to that, but we had asked for you to kind of revisit that because that is all language that's currently in ESP contract. So that's just still there for review. Hopefully you will accept.
Okay. Yep, we will review this
Okay.
whole section.
Make sure I got it all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. So,
Yeah. I tried to go through the notes and,
Yeah,
but
there's another set of eyes on it.
yes, please do. Okay. All right, into supplements. All right, so this page 94 essentially right now is just updating all the dates. You know, we withdrew the proposal for the increase in annual supplements for advanced degree, but we do still want to at some point get our requests for the information on how many we did for the 24-25 school year, because we were talking to the team how.
For the advanced degree?
Yeah, well, we had actually requested all supplements, which would include advanced degree supplements. I think it'll help us
Okay.
all understand, because we were kind of reminiscing about there was impasse, and then we got the advanced degree, and then I think 23, 24 was where it was implemented. That was kind of the getting everybody caught up. And then last year, 24, 25 was the first year of like it actually being kind of a normal year, I guess you could say, in the sense that it was implemented and you had everybody caught up. So we'll be interested to look at that data.
Okay, I think an important thing to note as well, and I'm not gonna say the years because I get, unless I look it up.
Yeah,
Just a reminder, when we first did it after impasse, we tied it straight to the statutory language that said it was only if it was if your advanced degree matched your area of certification. So that was limiting.
Right.
And then the next year is when we opened it up that any advanced degree could
right,
receive it.
yeah, so that's why,
okay.
I think last year was the full school year of like.
Yeah.
Settled, right?
Yeah.
Everything is what it is, so we'll be anxious to see that data.
Okay.
And then everything else here is just the dates. 25, 26 instructional supplements, 25, 26 advanced degree supplements, 25, 26 sponsorship supplements. We know we had proposed for elementary to be included, but board said no to that. So this page would just be date updates.
Got it. And then we want to add, if we're in agreement, obviously we have ESE contact
Yes,
in.
so we have a counter
Oh,
there.
I see that. I'm like, wait, that's the wrong note.
Yeah, so on the next page, dates withdrawing of the bilingual interpretation translation services, which
Got
went
it.
with that note at the bottom.
Yeah.
The board said no. The ESE contact leader, we know we had originally proposed, the $2,379.52. And then you all came back with a counter of 1,120. So we're countering with $1,719.93. And I was gonna ask Mackenzie to kind of share. I know there was some discussion about what they do and don't do, and so I don't know.
Okay.
Mackenzie
Yeah,
had
absolutely.
jotted some notes down. So use your teacher voice.
Well,
Just so
thank
there's
you for
rational.
letting us continue this conversation. And I have been the ESC contact at my school. It's been my 4th year doing it, so I do have some background. First, I'd like to tell you that ESC contact does everything that ESC specialist does plus. Because I have my own caseload that I am responsible for every single day. And with that, we have to pass the screening too. I have to train everybody and retrain everybody. For example, last year on Synergy, and this year I'll be doing it again with Peer and Focus. And this includes the contractors because their training isn't enough, and I have to go back in and work with them on my own. Also, we do send out the same information that the ESC specialist does, and I often have to go through the meetings and I have to disseminate information to the data to which teachers to send it to, which parents to send it to. I also have to help out writing IEPs for private schools because those no one will do it. So I have to do it as the ESC contact, especially the staff and specialists. We have to filter questions from staff, from parents, especially parents who don't know the information. I'm the one who's disseminating it and answering questions, especially for those challenging cases. And that also is for administrators and our district. And I also have to help out with the out-of-state IEPs, the in-state IEPs, the private charter, and trying to compare where to send them, and then coordinate that with staffing to make sure that these children are placed properly. Or I'm also the point of contact between the district and myself and the staffing department. And I'm the liaison also included with my administrators, the teachers, everybody at my school. Oftentimes, information has to be sent out. I am the first contact. They call me for the information and I find it out for them. Especially during the FTE. I'm the one who has to stop what I'm doing, fill out those forms, contact with the ESD department and make sure those forms are done correctly. Then work with my DP clerk and my administrator, make sure everything is signed off, everything is completed, especially with those IEPs, because we don't want to lose that money for our district and for our department. I also have to now set up school procedures for my team, that MTSS team, working with my DP clerk with those procedures and setting it up with my team members. How do we do eligibilities? Coordinating that with the staffing department, because they then disseminate that information to me and I have to let my team know. I have to sometimes help out with the MTSS. For example, the past 2 days were pre-planning. I haven't really done my classroom because I've been dealing with ESC contact stuff, and that is my job, and I will do it. But I had a parent who came in. It took me a half hour to tell this parent, your child will be in regular gen ed class. They only have a 504. I had to go through, find out the information, make sure everything was dotted, and then call the other school and waiting for them to come back. Not only that, I had to work with my DP clerk to make sure that the IEPs that we got recently were also placed properly in their classrooms. That took over 2 hours. That was on Friday, my first day back for cleaning. Today, with my new contractors, who are very lovely, but I had to sit down with them for an hour and 15 minutes instead of working in my classroom prior to me coming here, explaining our procedures, looking at the master schedule, going through everything, showing them what PBIS is. Where do we have the classes? Where do we have the IEPs? How do we set up meetings, especially on Teams, because some of them haven't used it. We want to make sure that we're collaborating with them. I have to understand, tell them who people are. For example, we're psychologists. I have to introduce them to everybody on our team. And that's during my time. I am also helping them sometimes with behavior when administration is busy. I'm the team leader. And I'm also a mentor to everyone in the school. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So we just wanted to give a little more rationale. I know we had handed you a pretty extensive packet on that, but that is why we're trying to increase that amount.
Got it.
And then the next page is just, again, the dates. So that's
And
great.
then if, y'all are in agreement, depending on what you decide during your time, we want to add
Oh,
student
yes.
services team
Sorry,
leader.
let me make a note of that. Here we would just put that in alphabetical.
Yeah, so
Put it down
after
there, but-
RTI, refill
yeah.
2RS.
Yep, yep. So this would be the student team lead. And what would the amount be?
We proposed, the same as the elementary team leader, $848.71.
Okay. Got it. Okay. All right. So next. Now we have a new packet. So first is the compensation, and it's already sorted, so just take, I think it's one, two. Oh, I think there's a page, I think there's a page. I think there's a page missing. From the compensation packet. No, there should be four. There was a list of job codes. Well, anyway, we'll pass it now. It is missing a page, but that's okay. Is it not in the document I sent? Is it? And then the next stack coming are the salary schedules with the cost analysis, and these have already been sorted, so you just take a pass. Okay, I think Sherry may have gone to go print page 3 of the compensation. All right. All right, so I'll walk you through this. All right, so this has been updated just for today's date at the top. Our number 1 is again proposal for changes to the salary schedules, which we'll walk through for Appendix A. Number 2 would be for the employees in the instructional bargaining unit to be credited with their years of experience and advance their step on their respective salary schedule, and eligibility again must have worked half the year plus a day and have the effective evaluation for the prior 24-25 school year. Number 3, this is our proposal for the top of employees at the top of their respective salary schedules to receive the one-time top step payment of $2,500. And the payment would be made no later than the end of the first semester. And again, eligibility is based on working half a year plus a day and having the effective evaluation for the 24-25 school year. And then number 4, this is for the licensed student services. And I kind of italicized and I underlined some things just to have a little bit of a conversation here. So effective July 1, 2025, eligible employees who are licensed school psychologists, those were included last year. Licensed psychologists, nationally certified school psychologists, and licensed mental health counselors. These would be new positions included because we found out that there are licensed psychologists, nationally certified school psychologists who weren't getting it. And I think our intent was originally to include them all, but that's the only reason is we wanted those titles there is to make sure that they're getting it as well. And I think the intent was for them to get it, but
What's the difference between licensed school psychologists and licensed psychologists?
A licensed psychologist would be like a clinical psychologist, but they're doing the job. I mean, we're all doing the same job.
Does anybody have both?
Um,
Do you see what I'm saying?
they might,
Okay.
but.
yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
they might.
So it's not that we would want them to get it twice, we just didn't
Right.
want them to not get it because they weren't
Yeah.
licensed school psychologists, but
Right.
they're licensed psychologists.
Okay,
So we
Fine.
could put something in there too, that's like any
Yeah,
one of
one.
these,
Yep.
you know,
all right,
Also might be in it.
nationally certified school
Same.
psychologists.
got it.
And then
Okay.
same with licensed mental health counselors.
Mhm.
The licensed SLP and licensed audiologists, those were in last year's agreement. When you gave us a counter, they were not in there, so we just underlined them to make sure that
Got it.
they're not new, they're just, we don't wanna take them out.
Correct.
And then all the rest, the licensed school social worker, the licensed mental health clinician, the licensed OTPT, or certified behavior analyst. And that's the thing, maybe the or is what helps us delineate between you're either licensed school psychologist
Right.
or licensed psychologist or not, you know.
Yeah, we definitely didn't have any intent of taking
Yeah.
anyone out.
Yeah, I
Like,
didn't think
It was
so.
supposed to be whoever it was last year, so.
Yeah. So that's why the ones that are underlined were, we just want to
Okay,
continue those,
Mhm.
and then I italicized the ones just so you understood why we were including them, because we just don't want them to be left out. Not to double it up, but just anyone who falls in that little
okay.
minutia of, or differentiated title. So they would be eligible for a one-time, and our counter here is $950 additional payment at the conclusion of the school year. And again, you must have worked a half the year plus a day, and be a current active employee at the time of payment. And then number 5 is for our eligible SLPs who hold their ASHA, CCC.
Asha C's, come on.
I know.
I'm getting with the
I
terminology
gotta-
here,
I
come
gotta-
on now.
I gotta put it in there, like, Ashes fees. This would be for their one-time additional payment of $2,250 is our counter there. The payment is, eligibility is based on working half the year plus a day for the 25-26 school year and be current active at the time of payment. Then we get into number 6, which are ESE instructional supplement. So this would be ESE instructional employees. The page that's missing in your packet is the job codes, which
Mhm.
we'll get it and walk through that, but the ESE attached job codes, and then student services employee, we have those attached job codes. We understood that you didn't want to include the gifted, and we had included school psychologists here. And so we'll go over when we get the job code list to show you what we've done there. And then, of course, the instructional employees assigned at our exceptional centers, which we already talked about last time, is anybody. It's not just an ESE specialist. It would be your specialist teachers. Oh, here we go. These are the job
It's just
codes.
job codes.
Thank you, Sherry. Need more like that. I think everyone here may have got one. Did you guys get the job codes? Okay. You did, you're good. You guys get the job codes? Okay. We got plenty. If you run out, just let us know. All right, so these would be the job codes for number 7. Or sorry, number 6. I misnumbered it. So, you know, we were going for a higher amount on this. We've had a lot of feedback so what we've added here, where the original list ended would have been at school psychologist 10331. We've had a lot of feedback from our other student services, our social workers and school counselors, that they are also part of this ESE process. We heard from some counselors that they talked about how they often start this process for our ESE students, so the counter there is to have them included, for that amount of $2,500. And again, it would be paid at the conclusion of the school year, and the payment is for eligible employees that must be current active employees at the time of payment. And then our number 7, this is a specific standalone payment for the instructional employees at the exceptional centers to be eligible. Our original proposal was for 5,000. This is a counter for 4,500. And I don't know if our folks at our exceptional centers wanted to add anything about this piece, because I know it was left out in the counter, but they wanted to share some insight into why.
Yeah, so we had included this in here this year. We've been working as a subcommittee with different center staff members. And we've been talking to them, hearing their concerns and trying to figure out, how we could make it better. And, the bottom line is the center-based staff have to do a lot of different things in order to be ready and prepared for the students that attend center. So although the trainings are not required, talking to a staff member about why NCI is important to work at a center for the whole reason of de-escalation down to that possibility of restraint. It benefits them and it empowers them to be able to do their job in a better way, that they don't really have anything that motivates them to do that when we don't have supplements like this. The same with like military training, very beneficial for our students when it comes to de-escalation and safety for both staff and students. So although it's a great training and I, find it very helpful, getting everyone on board to be able to participate, can be tricky when there's not other things motivating them to do that. The day-to-day life of center-based staff in general and teachers requires a lot more duties, multitasking, especially if they are short-staffed. They are required to change students and make sure their daily living needs are taken care of, which is all something that's very appropriate, but in order adults, yeah, but in order to provide the best care for our students, we want to make sure that the staff within centers are being taken care of and thought about. We also have the different curriculum expectations that go along with the modified curriculum on top of having to also teach behavior, and that behavior that can, be very challenging, and it can be difficult as a staff member at a center to work through de-escalation, go through that process, and then 2 minutes later get back to their class and have to pretend like none of that behavior, occurred.
And also with the students in the
class running, yeah.
with the students in the classroom, so you have a student go off during the middle of the lesson. Not only do you have to get that student out, but you have to get the other students out. And then you have to try to bring these kids in and try to go back onto plan. Or while an adult is being changed with their menstrual cycle or a bowel movement, vomit, we have to step in, we have to help do that. So it's just a lot more tasks that we have to do than our peers do. And we love it, that's why we're there. But there's a lot more that we have to do than typical. We're not just a teacher that gets to teach.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
And I was principal at Eisenhower Exceptional back in the day, so I do know the challenges that come with the position.
And so in our original proposal, we had proposed this kind of being part of the transformation network, because the committee talked about how some of those students are zoned for transformation, but they end up going there. And when we heard the counter was not interested in rolling that into the transformation MOU, so that's why we kind of clarified that and aligned that 4,500 with what we do for our national board, and kind of back that down from the 5,000 to 4,500.
And just to clarify, you are proposing still that they would, instructional employees at Exceptional would receive the 4,500 in addition to the 2,500 for ESE.
Yeah, that was the proposal that came from the committee.
Okay.
But again, we're willing to look at that. So then on to number 8. This is then a school psychologist critical shortage supplement that came out of the work of that group. Again, this is our counselor here. I know the school psychologist had originally been included in the ESE supplement, which we want to continue. The board's proposal was to remove them from that supplement where they were getting 1,500 and bring that down to 1,200. We were at 5,000, so our counter here is for the school psychologist to be eligible for a $4,500 critical shortage supplement for this 25-26 school year to be paid. And I think the goal here, I think I forgot to add this, but it would be split in the first and first semester, at the end of the first semester, and then paid at the end of the second semester, but we can fix that as a typo there.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the dates, but the payment would be supplement to base pay, FRS eligible, and the employee must be a current active employee. Number 9 is the National Board Certified Mentoring Payment of $1,000. So there's no change there. I believe that was also your counter proposal for the mentoring payment. And then number 10, this is for the National Board Certified Teachers in general. So the National Board Certified Teachers, the way you look at the language right now, which is in the Renaissance Pay language that we're kind of working on here. National Board teachers were getting a $4,500 supplement if they worked at a Renaissance school, and then they were also included in the Transformation Network. So what we want to do here is we've looked, there's only about 116 of these employees, and our goal here and our proposal here is that all National Board Certified teachers, regardless of if they're in a Transformation Network or a former Renaissance school, that they would be eligible for the one-time $4,500 payment to be paid no later than the conclusion of the school year. So that's our proposal there. Okay. And again, only about 116 of those when we consulted with our National Board folks. Number 11, this was something that we did last year, which was not in the board's counter, but we wanted to bring it back to attention, which is in accordance with 3.4.6 for the 25-26 school year, any instructional unit employee assigned to substitute duty during their planning, choosing to be compensated shall be paid at the rate of $20 per hour. So we want to continue that. No increase there, but just what we did last year. And then number 12, this is hopefully this will be familiar because we've proposed this with the ESPs, but for the 25-26 school year, highly qualified teachers as defined by state and federal statute who teach in schools of need. This would include schools with critical numbers of vacancy, former Renaissance schools, and schools exiting the Transformation Network for the 25-26 school year on the attached list, which the list is here for you. And it's the same list that we proposed for the ESP group. And if there's any questions about that, we can talk about it, but they would be paid the salary differential, and eligibility is determined by an effective or higher evaluation rating and certification for the assignment, and the flat amount of the differential pay shall be as follows. Instructional employees with 0 to 1 year of experience would receive 1,000. Instructional employees with 2 to 10 years of experience would receive 2,300, and the instructional employee with 11 or more would receive 3,600. So that's, again, that attempt of looking at how we can kind of redefine and look at what schools of need are in our district. And then number 13 is, of course, for the board to continue to pay the full cost of employee-only health insurance premium for a designated health plan. And then number 14 would be for the continuing covering the cost of fingerprint monitoring fees. So you got the job code list, and then you also have the schools of need list. And just with the same, I believe, I gotta remember back, I believe it was Wilson we added with their grade drop. And I believe it was Shields and Barrington.
Shields is actually in Transformation Network.
Okay.
When I was researching.
Are they
doing some
in
work.
there? Because I don't think they were on.
No,
Don't think they were on the. Let me just check.
double check, 'cause I'm working. on some-
Yeah.
Our team's been working on some
Gotcha.
Okay.
analyzing as well.
Yeah.
Double check. I
I
don't
am. I'm gonna look at
Let's
the
see.
25-26 MOU and see. So I know we have to phase out the old one. Okay, so Shields is there. So.
Mm.
And then, yeah, again, some of the other schools we added just had to do with the ones that we had previously agreed to due to critical vacancies.
Okay.
All right, so with the salary schedules, we've got them all here, EP, GQ, A, B, and then all the student services scales. And then the very last page of your packet is cost breakdown. So what we did here, similar to what we did with the ESP group, is we understand that the one-time payment on the first paycheck is not on the table. It's that data is going to come and go. So what we've attempted to do here is transition some of that one-time payment money into the base salary scale for all employees. So when you look at the breakdown of the salary schedules where there was a column tracking that one-time payment, that's been removed and moved over into base salary. We know that in our cost breakdown on the last page, the T payroll is, not there. all of the new supplements for National Board, the yearbook supplement, the bilingual interpretive supplement, and then, of course, the one-time payment of $1,500. I just highlighted the advanced degree supplements where I just said, need information, schools of need, and then the planning pay. What we did when we looked at the cost breakdown, we have put in the 1.9 million that you estimated for the rehired retiree experience credit, which wouldn't have been on part of our original cost. And also you all gave us an estimate for the increase to $30 an hour at approximately 2.8. So those numbers are in there. And then we recalculated the ESE retention supplement, which was back down over $500,000. The 4,500 for the ESE centers was reduced about $45,500 by reducing that amount. The longevity down to 2,500 would drop that amount by 1.2 million. And then, of course, the ASHA Cs are there, and the critical shortage for the school psychologists, our original proposal was back down by about 59,500. And then same with the student services licensure, by dropping that from 1,000 to 950, that dropped that by 15,000. So if we were comparing apples to apples with the rehired retiree and the ESY ELP, that moved our position by 1.6 million. So the salary schedules are here. I think one of the rationales I wanted to point out, especially in our scaled EMP for a 10-month, with a majority of our employees, 11,000, probably 12,000 employees are there. We got that memo from the state talking about starting teacher pay being at an average, and our starting teacher pay here is 48,000. So this proposal here would raise our starting salary to 49,500, which would be in line with the state average. So that's our proposal there.
So when we, through all the adjustments, the proposal is to come to reduction of 1.6 million?
Yeah, so again, if our total cost last time didn't include the rehired retiree that you gave us an amount,
Right.
and the ESY, so
Okay.
we're just kind of, we were doing apples to apples. So we put that 1.9 and the 2.8 in our last proposal, but then backed out these other items and then adjusted our use of the money for the one-time payment into the salary schedule.
Right.
That's where we came up with that.
So reduce the one-time payment into a recurring in the salary schedule.
Yeah, instead of using almost 19.9 million in one-time payments, it would be about 19.4 million into the salary schedule.
All right. Okay. Well, we will caucus and see
Okay.
if there is anything that we can make some decisions on today,
Okay,
and then come back up. I
All
think
right.
we'll need,
it's about 3:52 right now,
Mhm.
so you let us know.
we could have 30 minutes.
Sure, okay. So that would be 4:30. Let's
Sure.
do 4:30. All
That'll
right,
work.
check in, if you need more time, let us know.
All right, so we don't have anything to propose right now.
Right,
Obviously, we're in a position where we still don't have the fourth calculation,
right,
as well as first day of school is coming,
Yeah.
and those enrollment numbers are super important to the budget.
yeah,
So we'd like to go ahead and look to schedule once school starts.
okay,
We wanted to propose that we come back on Monday, August 18th. We still may not have a completely clear picture financially, but we will have time to go through the other things, and we may, right?
Yeah.
Some of these things might. And then also look at August 25th, which is the following Monday, just putting those on hold.
Yeah.
Both of them.
We like it.
Those
You
are-
like it? All right, good.
Our building's open, same time, 3:00.
Yeah, I think that's, we know it's early release day, so that will limit the amount of subs that people
Right.
need.
And we'll bring in both groups. for
That would be
both
perfect.
sessions,
Yes, let's do
ESP
both.
and instructional.
Now that we're really, and we should be able maybe to open and start with the instructional language that's still
Yeah,
lingering.
Yeah.
Kind of get that done, and then we'll just be left with the compensation piece of
Yeah.
it.
I agree. I think getting an enrollment handle will help, for sure.
Okay.
So, right.
All right, thank you all,
Yes.
and have a great first day of school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing like first day of school tired.